Hey everybody, good morning. Philip, Infinity, Dan, Eric, Larry, Don, Donald, Laura, Rosalind, Diana, Francois, Goose, Valerie, Doris, excuse me, Stephen Bourne, Thomas, Rob, Craig, Diane, Amy, Gary, John, Patrick, Sledge, Rex, Sergio, Cliff, Wade. Good morning everybody. Click the link on the chat, right? Or click the link on the screen right there. Be a subscriber if you want to say hey in the chat. Get my tongue tied. Anyway, morning everybody. How's it going? And I told you Nvidia would be below $200. There it is. Boom. All the way down at 120. Right there. Pre-market. Check it out. Pre-market. 119 actually. Oh, it dropped a little bit. Look at that. Look at that. I told you. I mean, the power of a split, really takes it down. Like, pow. Anyway, there are now 10 times as many shares out there. But look at that. That number is now 24.6 billion shares. And there you go. There you go. And anyway, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. So, where are we going on NVIDIA from here? Look at this. If you go like this, look at this. That's a crazy looking chart right there. Non-log mode, log mode, a little more reasonable. Non-log mode, I mean, that's quite a bit up there. Looks a lot like something like that, right? Be careful. Be careful. That's starting to look way straight up. Anyway, there's a volatility anomaly. And if you didn't know, I'll show it to you here. I don't know where my finger went. Goose, don't message in my private channel, dude. Anyway. Here you go, right here. Right there. Look at this. The highest volatility days are up days. Usually, typically we have highest volatility on down days. This is volatility climbing on up days. And this is not VIX climbing. This is realized market volatility. Realized market volatility. In the NASDAQ particularly, happening on up days, which is unusual. Let's call it. It's not the normal thing. All right. So this is from Bloomberg. Bank of America also put that out in their report. A little bit different chart. Let me see if I can link that somewhere else. I didn't throw it in Discord. I think it was in the trending ideas. Let's see if I can find it really quickly. I just thought it was interesting that it was the same chart but different. Yeah, here it is. Let me pop that out and pull it over. It's from Slack. See, same chart but different. Different producer. This is from Bank of America right here. And same sort of situation. NASDAQ 100 stocks are exhibiting panic. And that's the volatility. Panic in rallies rather than sell-offs. It's a historically unusual behavior. And this is interesting right here to me that this is happening. That's possibly indicative of a top, right? Possibly. Look, the last time we saw it. Look, the last time we saw it. And I wasn't trading back then. This is something different. Yet another thing to keep on your spidey sense radar. Now, another big question. JT, what's keeping Bitcoin down? Look at this. Leveraged. I always warn about leverage, right? Leveraged funds, net total for Bitcoin. And if I go like this and grab that and copy and paste her over here, see if I can draw on it. I can. So look at this. Look at this down here. I think that's $18 billion net short. And that's dropping right now. That's In other words, that's more money net short as Bitcoin has climbed to the point where we are. Who wants to bet against Bitcoin going up right here after the halving? Somebody has a... They didn't just double down. I mean, look over here. This was basically in line, right? That's 2020. That's right after the halving. We went through this right here. Then we went back into this, where we hit that all-time high right in here in November. Net short stayed high until we plummeted out and made the low right down here. But look before the last halving, or even right after the last halving. I mean, after the last halving, we did that, and then that right there. The last halving happening in May. So it was right in there. We got a little ramp. Is this like supersized? Tell me. I think they're early. I think they're way early, and they're at about... This is going to be a pain trade right here. It's going to be super pain. So that's CFTC, CME, leveraged funds, net total. It's just crazy. There's like $18 billion worth of net shorts on Bitcoin. You tell me that's not going to end in disaster for somebody. But, hey, it's going to lead to super squeeze higher. That's the stuff that can be... That's the kind of chart that can lead to Bitcoin being 500,000 instead of just my target at like 150 to 300. So that's something to keep in mind. Am I saying go out and invest? No, absolutely not. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. All right. All trading, substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. I may never predict another thing right again. In fact, that chart may be 100% right. That may be the smart money, and Bitcoin plummets from here. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell anything at all. And if you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor. And we've got the Termite Trading Labs in-person meetup this week. We've got a dinner on Wednesday. We got all-day sessions on Thursday and Friday. I'll be doing this show live in front of a... It's not really a studio audience. It's more like I'll be doing it live with the Termite Trading Lab group in the room on Thursday and Friday. So should be an interesting week. We've got FOMC coming up on Wednesday, right before that all kicks off. We've got PPI, and we got CPI, PPI. We got the NVIDIA split today. We've got, I guess, the Worldwide Developer Conference for Apple this week. And if they don't really impress with their stuff, well, everybody's expecting lots of AI awesomeness from Apple, and if they don't deliver, not going to be too good. It's definitely not the right week. With the CPI, the PPI, I guarantee you there's going to be some sort of curveball this week. That's the one thing I can guarantee you. Going higher, going lower, I don't know. It could be an explosive move up. It could be an explosive move down. It could be explosive just volatility, just up and down. There's going to be a curveball, and it's not clear. We're sitting near right at all-time highs, and we've got the core CPI right there on Wednesday. We've got the FOMC right there, 2 p.m. on Wednesday. We've got the press conference because Jerome Powell he just can't not speak. He's got to do it. And then Thursday, PPI right there, unemployment claims. And Friday, new consumer sentiment right there after the market opens. This ought to be all interesting. So anyway, there you go. That's kind of the week at a glance, if you will. Today, relatively benign. Just the NVIDIA split. Tomorrow, relatively benign. So the wind up in the pitch, we'll see what happens this week. I don't see how there's not volatility picking up this week. Now, does that mean VIX is going to climb? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. VIX is the put call ratio of the S&P 500 30 days out, basically. That's kind of like the way this is derived. And at this point, that's like dead levels right there. This is in that consolidation zone resting place. Now, the biggest mother right there back during COVID, and you can see these ones before. I mean, remember that one? Anybody? How about, and the one back here is not showing up very well. And there we go. So this one was a, look at these. Are we going to get another event? Haven't really been that long since the last one. These do tend to take a few years in between these giant events. So we could expect one of these, though. One of these smaller ones. That would be reasonable to expect in here. What are you talking about, JT? I'm not sure. Like these guys right here. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So something in that zone. A nice pop from down here in the 13 area up here to the 40, $50 area right in there. Now, how soon could that happen? You got me. Could we wait till the election? We could. Could we do it here this summer? We could. Could it do a double whammy? Absolutely. We've got $517 billion missing off the bank balance sheets. This banking problem still cooking in the background. Still cooking. So there's some problems of brewing. And historically, VIX doesn't just sit at the bottom. That's not the way this is going to happen. All right. This is not going to stay down here. VIX can, people saying VIX is dead. Yeah, that's a dangerous statement to make right there. People before back here said VIX was dead. VIX did stay suppressed for a good long time right here. This was the short vol trade. If you weren't trading back then, this right here was short vol. And then we had like a Volmageddon situation. Rates freak out right there. If you weren't trading back then, it was this right here. That right there caused this right here. Oop, lost my pen. Caused this right in here. Now we're looking at the fact that we're way higher on that DGS2 chart, and we're sitting down here. Of course, nothing really happened to the market. Market's just kind of chill, right? Just kind of chill. And then Tesla shareholder meeting on the 13th also. We'll see what happens. Elon gonna take his ball and go home. So that's a downtrend, but this is not going to zero. VIX just doesn't go to zero. That's not happening. So this is basically the resting point. Back here before COVID, the resting point got all the way down to right at 9. So we could dip down there, but we're unlikely to stay down there. Highly unlikely. Now, you want a crazy hedge in the market? Buy like a 15 or 20, sell like a 40 or something about like that. If this thing spikes out, make huge money. Now how far out do you go? Depends on you. Now, if you do a spread like that though, you got to be right on your timing, because if it spikes ahead of your timing and then drops back down, you're probably not going to make your money. So that's the toughest part of this whole thing, is getting the timing right. So a lot of people will put on a series of these. A lot of big traders, hedge fund type people that are hedging. This is a hedge, not a trade, right? You would go out like a month, 2 months, 3 months, have a 1 month out, a 2 month out, 3 month out. Or you just start with a 3-month out now and keep adding a 3-month as we move 1 month forward. Just keep adding a 3-month, keep adding a 3-month. That can cover you. And one of them will pay out, but a bunch of them will probably lose. So got to be careful on those. All right. Where are we on things we actually care about and actually can make money with today? Well, let's take a look. Let's just clear this up. Oh, that was cool. I didn't want to do that because I've got that red on the top and red on the bottom. Just need to clear these off. And we need to go back to the daily charts. There we go. So look at this right here. We're kind of dropping out on S5 FI. Stock's about the 50-day moving average for the S&P. Hovering in the lower quadrant while the market's at all-time highs. This is lower and lower and lower participation. Funny enough, it's showing up on this chart on the 50-day. We saw it right here. Back here. Look over here. This thing topped out. Maybe you can't read it. Move that down just slightly. This thing topped out April 2021. When did the market top out? The S&P topped out January 2022, like 5 days in, where the blue arrow is. So we had less and less stocks participating in the rally. Less and less participating as we got to what was the all-time high for a good long while. Now here we are again. We're not anywhere near what we were over here. See this right here? Not anywhere near that level. Haven't even gotten close to that this time. Kind of barely poked above right there. Barely. 80 tends to be a reversal point if if you're new here, didn't know about this chart. Stock's about the 200-day S5TH. You can see it. We tend to top out at 80, tend to bottom out at 20. Sometimes we poke below or above, but that just indicates it's about time to reverse. We were last down here at the lows in October of 22. JT, that was like a long time ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Almost 2 years now. This is a slow moving chart. But the scary thing is, we basically completed a head and shoulders. This thing breaks the neckline. Does it work out? Do we go down? You tell me. This is a giant market oscillator. It's not tradable. So this is just stocks about the 200-day moving average right there. So if you wanted to trade this, you go S&P 500 stocks. Ones that are above the 200-day, you go short them, and like that. And the stocks above their 20-day, look at this. Even though we've been hanging out at all-time highs, look at this. We're just hanging out down here on stocks above the 20-day. So this is really, so this is the biggest picture. That's the 200-day. This is narrowing down to the 50-day. This used to be the only one I really looked at. And now stocks about the 20-day hanging out down here while the S&P was hanging out up here. That's really, that's got my attention. It should have your attention, all right? This is showing a lot of weakness. That's look at it. There's only 36% of S&P 500 stocks above their 20-day while the S&P 500 was sitting up here at all-time highs. That's a very, very narrow participation rate. We tagged that target right there. That could be it. Tagged it. That could have been it. That was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could be it. That might be the top for a while. Might be the top for a long while. Could. Be careful. All right. Where's the high probability trade? That's the problem. There's not really a great one right now. ES, when we look down here, I know the market just opened, but ES, when we look at the overnight action, this opened Sunday, last night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Not too good here. We opened right there. little pop, and then drifted lower, staying below the 15-minute. Right there, right there, right there. So 5,300, that's still kind of the line in the sand. We stay above 5,300. This zone down here, probably still looking up. We start getting below that, party might be done for now. Party to the upside. Now, as I started all this out, CPI, PPI, FOMC, Worldwide Developer Conference, Tesla voting, NVIDIA split, all these things happening this week. NASDAQ here, same sort of situation. That's NQ futures. That's NASDAQ futures right there. QQQ, also looking a little lackluster as we come into the open. And my mouse just went weird. There we go. I think I need a new battery. Got to remember to do that. And Russell, also, this one hasn't been anywhere near the all-time high. All-time high way up here. We're way over here, about to touch the daily roadmap line. If we don't hold support, guess what? Going on down in a blaze of glory. Right there. And then you may be like, JT, how do you, what the heck, Russell? IWM is a way to trade this. We get below that daily roadmap line. Could be heading down here. Might take a while. Right there. One banking freakout. Pachow. Right down in there. Very quickly. Oil. Potentially making a bottom. Maybe. Possibly. Possibly. I don't know. Put it in the log chart mode. It kind of held the 618 area. If you put it in the non-log mode, held the 786 level. Not my favorite place, but if we get below that zone, watch out for this. If we can bounce it, it very well could be the retrace we needed to propel us all the way up in this zone. We stop at 90. That's still kind of bearish. We go all the way up to 100. It's much more bullish. If we get above that 105 area, watch out. We're probably going to make new highs than we've made since COVID. Could take us on up here, 140, 150, possibly even 170, possibly crazy higher. But so this is something to watch right here. It all starts with the continuation, right? Got to break back above the daily roadmap line. Got to break it back above that consolidation zone we did for the last couple weeks. Right there. We did that consolidation. We tried to break out above it. Rejected hard. That could be the final flush out. Watch out for a spike in oil. Could go fast. But it also could break support and drop down in this area in the 60s. So it's very unclear at the moment. We're not in a high probability trade situation yet. Be careful on oil. GC, we're seeing this a lot in the market, right? All over the place. GC, is that the final flush out we needed? Right there. I could see, I can make a case for this coming on down where this drop and this drop are at equality at the 2280. Possibly even stretch it down to the daily roadmap line. Nothing clear yet, but we're going higher. It's just a matter of time, right? Time is the hardest thing of this. I'm telling you, this was the flush out I was kind of expecting. I wanted GLD to get down in the 208 to 210 area. Got really close. I wanted it lower than this low right over here. I'm just going to wait. I haven't bought my long-term position back yet. Still waiting. Still waiting. Bitcoin. Curious here on this move on Bitcoin. Rejected pretty hard. Breaking out on Friday. We tried for the breakout and got slammed down. That's why I brought up the point with that new chart I showed off there earlier, and I already dismissed it. Let's pop it back up really quickly. Right here. Those shorts growing like crazy. Got to be careful on this. What's that telling us? That's like an explosive situation set up right there. Shorts growing, and Bitcoin has potential to break out and run from here. How long can it wind up before it does? Well, it could be a little while. Well, historically, after halving, we don't really break out for about 200 days, 6 months. So halving was in April. So May, June, July, August, September, October, possibly November, even into December. Could take a little while. Could take a little while. This could frustrate. This could get maximum frustration for a lot of people before it actually starts running. Highly likely we're going to run higher. But when? When is the key. Ethereum here looks like it. This really strongly looks like it wants to go back for another touch, especially on the futures. And when we look at the all-time history here, this one also looks really strong, like it wants to go dip back into this zone, possibly go hit the roadmap line again, maybe take a dip back to 3,200. I'll probably add my position back if we do that. I sold out right here. And I might buy back if we dip into this 3,200. If we do that and hold, probably going higher. Probably going higher. Now, the spot ETFs were approved, but none of them hit the market yet. It's not like waiting on Gensler or anything like that at this point. It's waiting on everybody to get their crap together, so to speak. This right here would be a perfect storm situation. This is like my favorite pattern in the whole market, where the market roadmap bounce, then move up, that move back down to the orange. That's the market roadmap. And the 618 measured bounce I was talking about last week. That move up, that touch of the 618, when that comes together at the same spot, we get the market roadmap, the orange, and that 618, the pink fib line, retrace of the move up. That comes together and price holds there and then bounces higher. That's an explosive setup right there. At this point, that potential has caught my eye lately. That potential, we got to get the bounce though. That potential puts us up to this zone up here, right around 5,000. Potentially even much, much higher, because that would kick off, that would put into play this bigger bounce right here, this bigger correction. And the target's off that high. Oh, couldn't get that low quite perfectly right there. We'll be kicking off 5,400, 5,900, possibly 7,700. And it's not even log mode. If we went to log mode, we'd be talking 6,000, 7,000, 13,000. Crazy moves. Crazy move potential. So that's on there. That's Ethereum right there. So I'm looking for that retrace back to about 3,200. Dollar. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking higher. That's the kind of strength I wanted to see. We get above that 618 right there. 105.60. Probably indicative we're going on up to 106.80, 107, and possibly this 108.50 that I've been looking for gosh darn near. It's getting close to a year. I've been talking about that. Started talking about that 108.50 all the way back last summer. Almost a year I've been talking about 108.50. Probably going to go visit that before we're done and turn down. That's what it looks like. Dun, 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 dun. Still stop. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that one stopped out. NVIDIA, as I said, be cautious here. It's been a little while. It's been back. Been a little while since we visited the roadmap line on the 30-minute. Been a long while since we visited the roadmap line on the daily. Look at that. Over a year. Got close right there. Over a year. Highly likely to come back sometime or another. Right? Lots of people thought we were going to keep rallying super strong. I mean, think about it. This is the law of big numbers here. If your market capitalization is $3 trillion, how much money does it take to double the stock price? Let me know in the chat. To go from 120 to 240. How much money does it take, pump into the market, to double the stock price when your market capitalization is at $3 trillion? Anybody know? How much money? We'll circle back to that in a second. Somebody want to guess? How much money? How much money has to pump into the market to take this from 120 back to 240? CRWD? Nice, right up to the target. Pachow. And then nice. Oh, dropping, getting a little pop. This one suggestive that we're going on down. That's right, $3 trillion. That's what it takes. It takes $3 more trillion. And $3 trillion has to pump into the market. Not $6 trillion, $3 trillion. It'll be a total of $6 trillion. Now we go look over here. Biggest company in the land, $3 trillion. Next biggest, $3 trillion. Next biggest, $3 trillion. Next biggest, $2 trillion. Next biggest, $2 trillion. Next biggest, a little less than $2 trillion. And then next biggest, 1.2 trillion. What's going to take a whole nother company worth of money to push this back up? So be careful right there. Now, the intellectually honest answer, it probably only takes about 10% of that 3 trillion to push it that high. Only about 10% of this money is actually in this company, probably. So that's the crazy thing. There's probably only about $300 billion. If everybody wanted to sell right now, you'd probably only be able to get about $300 billion out of this before it was at such low prices nobody would touch it. So we're looking at the fact that $300 billion more into it could take it up to $6 trillion. Isn't that crazy? That's kind of like mind bender right there. So stock prices tend to magnify money about 10 times. And that's not just stock prices. It's pretty much price of everything. So when there's limited supply, you get kind of a 10x factor, but it works both ways. When you got sellers out there, that's a completely liquid market. Prices would be balanced, but it's not the way. That's not the way stuff like stocks work. So if everybody wanted to sell, I bet you could get about $300 billion out of it before it was gone. So probability of $150 a share? I don't give it a high probability at all. Not right now. Not right now. Let's do the math. Basically above, was it 1350? It's the biggest company in the land, and it's way overhyped. They don't have they don't even have the business hardly to support this kind of craziness. That's the but bubbles stay bubbles, right? Price to sales, right there. Look at that. Anything with a price to sales over 20 is highly dangerous. Nvidia has hovered right at 20 until recently and shot up, and we're way above it now. Way above it. So this is one of those danger situations. This, I can't explain how dangerous it is. It's going to come down at some point, and we've seen this play out before. We'll see it play out again. KKR. That probably going to come back to the roadmap line eventually. Could have been enough retrace to push it higher again. Kind of match that one. The upside target right now, if that's the low, probably 109, 110, or 110. PLNT. Potentially going to launch on up to 82. GoDaddy. That just keeps grinding. There's nothing to it. Like, that just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding. That one's going to give it up eventually. I mean, look at that. What goes up comes back down eventually. The breakout level is all the way back here. Could easily go revisit that. Easily. BRMN or BMRN. It's a biomed, biotech, pharma. Under the roadmap line. Be careful. That can just plummet out. Anything the FDA is involved in, dangerous. Doesn't follow the patterns. CVNA. Yeah, I'm trying to be honest with you. Like, there's a lot of YouTubers, there's a lot of people that'll be out here hyping the fact that Nvidia is going to go higher, you know, after stock splits, historically, blah, 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 blah. Be careful, all right? Be careful. Is this the market that you want to get involved in, going higher? Look over here. Stock split, 1 for 20. That was a big split. But that messed around for it popped and then dropped, right? That was a split. Was it bullish? Yeah. Were you smart enough to get out at 140? Or did you get caught in this and then have to ride it back up again and then get caught up in this before we finally popped up here? And NVIDIA is not Amazon, right? NVIDIA is not. I mean, NVIDIA has, I mean, you can say multiple products, but it's really one product. They make GPUs, processing units. Scale back, they have somebody else make chips for them, and they sell those chips. What other products do they have? Where's the diversification? Just be careful, all right? When you bet all your things in one basket, you be like, well, it's data center GPUs, and then the gaming, and then, I mean, it's all the same kind of market, though. And I remind you, it was not that long ago. That wasn't that long ago. Right? That wasn't that long ago. 69% down. Man, no way it does that again. You don't think so? Look over here. 56% down. $54 down. These things commonly had 50 to 60% pullbacks. Commonly. How much is that from here? Easily back to that $47 area. $50 area. Easily. Be careful. Just saying, be careful. CRWD. Already been there. All right. Carvana. Showing a little rockiness here. Can we push it one more time? Or is that going to be the one that rolls? Eventually, we're going to, like, all these that have not touched the roadmap line since back here in October, November. We need a bigger flush out to go make everything hit again. This rally's getting long in the tooth off October lows. SMLR. Yeah, that just looks nasty. Medical specialty. Love. Had some sort of whatever announcement. And can it hold above the roadmap line on the daily? Or do we break back down? Like that is the question here. So at this point, we got the high, we got the low. We break above. It's got that gap down right there. That gap down resistance. Watch for that right there. We can get above that 36 and 38, but that's not a big mover, really. Not going to be, that doesn't look like it's a long-term bullish chart. This big tree cloud holdings. IPOs are bearish in nature, and this is $4, so under 10, so it doesn't really follow the patterns, and I would be very careful here. GME, just touched on this briefly. That holding up really well. If we hold this pattern right here, lots of people are saying this whole thing's over. If we hold this zone right there, look at this. That's a 618. We held on Friday. If we hold this, this is going to be the shocker. It's a potential shocker in the market right here. Sets us up for 70 to 90 right there. That's freaking crazy. That'd be a shocker. I don't care what kind of... That's in the price chart. I don't care what kind of dilution. I don't care what kind of craziness. This is a higher low. Still on the trend line. Lots of people. You gotta remember, mainstream media is a puppet for big money. It just is. All right, big money owns mainstream media. They push certain narratives that can pop, rip a bunch of people with a lot of money short on GME. Just be careful. Can it also fail? Absolutely. There's the fail target, $6. There's the crazy target, 90. At this point, possibly even up to like 140. Let's see what happens. This is an interesting story playing out right there. ADBE probably wants to reach down to this zone right here. Already visited that well to the bottom of that, exceeding the bottom, probably indicating we're going to push on down just a little bit back to 378. If we hold that, if we touch it and hold it, that's that magic 618 level. Going to propel us up here. AMD. Just hovering. Hovering. So we've got this consolidation we did right here before we did the pop. Consolidate a little bit right there. Coming up, retesting it from the bottom. It's not the strongest. Got resistance up to the 618 level at 192. Get it back above that, we can go higher again. But if we break down below these lows, we're probably coming down here to this 85 to 105 area. That's the 618 level. Funny enough, that whole move up, that can set us up to go much higher on AMD. PERI could. It also could fail that zone and go back down and be sucky for a long time. PERI, that one also not looking super awesome at the moment. If you're long, put that 618 level right on down. Just a little lower. Around that 6, I guess, right around $7, yeah. A little bit lower. Potential to bounce pretty big. Celsius Holdings. Got the retrace to the roadmap line. Finally. Did it make a lower low yet? Ooh, just barely. I do expect this to poke just a little lower than this right here. It's a big correction. And then we can start looking for the move up to this 110 area on Celsius. KOLD. And continuing to push lower. Actually, Bought a small position in UNG. Load. There we go. Look at this. This was a little market roadmap bounce right here. Popped up, retraced, popping on through. Look at the close above that 618. Target 22 right there. I don't know where my alert went, but set one up there. Yeah, 22, 24. That's NG was kicking off alerts last night. Natural gas breaking above. Potentially going to get a rally up to this $4 area. Breaking out. Finally. Possibly up to this 460 area. SKYE. It's the biotech back to the roadmap line. If it's going to follow the pattern. It's a big if. That high, that low. Can't go to that low. And 21 possibly on the upside. If we break out. But not the strongest chart. ILMN looks like it's on a slow grind down lower. Down here to 75 area. DEO. Another grind. Tag the target. Possibly 125 below that. And LPA. What goes up usually comes right back down. I kind of expect that one to come back to that resting spot where we had that right there. Yeah, this is not magic right here. Look. So let's get a few more candles. See how this popped up like that? Consolidated right here. And then flushed. Look right here. Popped up. Popped up. Consolidated at a lower high. And flush. This is the standard psychology of a bubble market thing. This pattern exists over and over and over. All right. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over some more. So things that are going up like crazy. NVIDIA. Eventually, the statistics say we're coming back down. So be careful. LABU. That one's broke above that downtrend line. Just kind of hanging. Just kind of hanging. Now, is that downtrend line in the right spot or not? That's the big question. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it should have been up here on that high. Missing those highs over there. In which case, we're just below it and pushing lower. If, what I do know very clearly, we get below this low right here, around 80. Probably indicative we're going back down 33. This thing reverse split over here, 1 for 20. So this is basically a giant dumpster fire type chart. This is leverage on biotech. That's two things that I do not like to get involved in. Certainly don't like to mix them together. Could you make lots of money? Absolutely. Could you lose lots of money? You betcha. Be careful on that one. 2x long on NVIDIA. If NVIDIA retraces, this one's coming back down. Can we go higher on NVIDIA? Absolutely. Absolutely. Crazy can keep getting crazier. Could it be the first $6 trillion company? Absolutely. Just be careful. Do I think it's highly likely? Not really. Takes a lot of money. And if we go up to 6 trillion, it's probably coming back pretty viciously. So DPST, that one's probably coming back down. Also, remember that banking problem. There's still $517 billion worth of money missing off the banking, off the balance sheets because of interest rates going higher. Kind of messed everything up. So the Fed created this problem by raising interest rates. The market created this problem by raising interest rates. The Fed chased it, set the official interest rates, created all these assets that were underwater that can't be sold. Nobody wants them. $517 billion worth of value missing off the balance sheets for banks. It's a ticking time bomb, right? This is the same sort of thing Lehman Brothers blew up on. All it took was one oopsie overnight, and the whole house of cards came apart. Be careful. Be careful. Sitting on a potential another financial crisis. And be careful. Yeah, what could displace NVIDIA? There's actually 3 or 4 potentials cooking in the background. AMD, probably the most known. Intel working on some stuff. There's an unknown player, relatively unknown, that makes the software for NVIDIA that they design all their chips. They're designing their own AI chips. That's interesting. They could come out with something that completely blows everybody away. They're hanging out there. ARM hanging out there. Much more efficient chips. Can they break through? You said at the resistance. So there's a few players out there. NVIDIA is definitely entrenched in the AI research space. Built the CUDA system. They've got a lot of ecosystem synergy, but there's no moat. If all of a sudden something came along that 100x performance, anything NVIDIA's got, is everybody staying with NVIDIA? Anyway, I digress. Just never know. You know, Cisco, and it wasn't Cisco with the S, it's Cisco with a C. Cisco with the S is food. Yeah, Cisco with a C. Right there. CISCO. Not SYSCO. SYSCO is food. Anyway. All right. So that's what we got cooking today. Remember, we've got all this stuff coming up this week. We got PPI, CPI, FOMC, Worldwide Developer Conference, Tesla share vote, had the NVIDIA split. This is an interesting week. Interesting week, I might say. I'll be in Discord hanging out and giving my opinions where my opinion might be or might not be warranted. I've got my in-person event kicking off Wednesday evening. If you're a Termite Trading Lab member, make sure you read the chat for that. Wrongover threw up some stuff about a potential test drive and demonstration for full self-driving. So if you're interested in that, come check it out. And I'll see you again tomorrow. We'll do 30 minutes of awesome tomorrow. We'll do the morning show just like this tomorrow. And it should be an interesting week. That's what we've got this week. Interesting week. Have a great one, everybody. Be careful out there. The account you save may be your own. Don't stay wrong. All the things I say.